The Galactic Academy Xenobiology lecture hall hummed with the soft chittering of a dozen different species. Eva sat in the third row, her delicate form barely filling half the standardized seat designed for species averaging twice her mass. She tapped notes into her datapad with 6 of her slender fingers, her compound eyes processing the professor's holographic displays at a rate that would have impressed any of her Xanthari peers. Beside her, Liam slouched in a reinforced human-grade chair, one of only 3 in the entire facility. The Death Worlder looked perpetually uncomfortable, his frame too dense, too compact for the airy architecture of the station. Eva had been paired with a human for the semester's group project, a pairing she'd initially dreaded. Humans had a reputation. Everyone knew the stories. They came from a world that actively tried to kill them, a planet where the very atmosphere sparked with electrical fury, where the ground itself could split open and swallow cities, where microscopic organisms waged war in every breath. Deathworlders, the galaxy called them, survivors of Earth, the Clixian nervous system. Professor Thelanax droned, his translation matrix rendering his clicks into standard galactic, what operates on a distributed network model, allowing for continued function even after significant trauma. The lights died. For exactly 1.3 seconds, the lecture hall plunged into absolute darkness. Then emergency bioluminescent panels flickered to life, bathing everything in sickly green, and the alarm began to scream. Ava's biology knew that sound. Every species in the Galactic Commonwealth was genetically imprinted to recognize it. 3 descending tones, repeated. Invasion protocol. The Varaxian swarm had found them. Chaos erupted. Her classmate Rixtel, a gaseous Nephiran, immediately dispersed in panic. The Corthian twins bolted for the door, their forelegs scrambling for purchase. Professor Thelanax's translator glit spewing garbled sounds as he attempted to maintain order. Eva froze. Her species' survival instinct was simple: stillness. Don't move. Don't attract attention. Let the predator pass. She felt Liam move before she saw him. The human's hand slammed down on their shared desk with such force that the carbon composite material rated to support 2 tons split cleanly in half. Ava's datapad clattered to the floor as the desk's pieces fell away. Get up. Liam's voice cut through the chaos, through the alarms, through her paralysis. Ava's translator barely kept up with the urgency in his tone. She stared at him, all 6 eyes wide. The human's face had transformed. The usually calm, somewhat bored expression he wore during lectures had vanished, replaced by something predatory, something alert. We have maybe 90 seconds before they breach this sector, Liam said, already moving. His hands flew across his personal terminal, pulling up the station schema. The Varaxians hunt by motion and heat signatures. Your species is cold-blooded, right? Eva managed to nod. Good, that helps. Liam grabbed her arm gently. She noticed even in her panic, aware of his strength versus her fragility. Come with me if you want to live. It was such a human thing to say. Eva had heard that humans consumed fiction about survival, about warfare, about monsters. They called it entertainment. The corridor outside erupted in screams. Through the doorway, Eva glimpsed something that made her 3 hearts freeze. Vraxian warriors, 8 feet of chitinous armor and razor-edged limbs, designed by evolution to dismantle ships and consume crew. She saw Mixtel's dispersed form get sucked into a Varaxian's feeding orifice, gone in an instant. Liam pulled her in the opposite direction, away from the main corridor. Service shaft. This way. How do you Eva start it? Memorized all emergency routes first day, Liam said, prying open a maintenance panel with his bare hands. Metal shrieked. Earth has earthquakes, tsunamis, tornadoes. You always know your exits. They crawled into the shaft. Behind them, the sounds of slaughter grew closer. The Varaxians were efficient hunters, evolved on a planet where hesitation meant death. They moved like water, flowing through the station's corridors, but Liam moved like something else entirely in the cramped maintenance tunnel. The human navigated with purpose. Eva watched him check junction points, test the stability of each section before allowing her to proceed. His breathing was controlled, steady. While her own respiratory system worked overtime in panic, Liam's cardiovascular system, that legendary human endurance system, kept him calm. There, he whispered, pointing to a side passage. The escape pods are 2 sections over, but there's going to be a Vraxian warrior tore through the shaft wall ahead of them. Ava's scream caught in her throat. The creature filled the tunnel, its mandibles clicking, sensory organs locking onto them. This was death. This was the end. That Liam stepped in front of her. The human stood perhaps 5 foot and maybe 180 pounds. The Vraxian warrior outmassed him 3 to 1 and had evolved weapons where Liam had soft skin. Every logical calculation said the human should die. But Earth didn't care about logic. Liam moved with a speed that Ava's compound eyes almost couldn't track. He twisted as the Varaxian lunged, using the creature's own momentum against it. The tunnel was narrow advantage to the smaller fighter. Liam's elbow, that peculiar human joint, slammed into what Eva recognized from xenobiology as the Varaxian's primary neural cluster. The creature reeled. Humans, Eva remembered from class, had evolved as persistence hunters. They didn't have claws, didn't have armor, didn't have venom. What they had was the ability to turn anything into a weapon and the absolute refusal to quit. Liam grabbed a severed piece of deck plating and brought it down like an axe. Once, twice, 3 times. The Varaxian's chitinous armor cracked. Green ichor sprayed the walls. When it was over, Liam stood over the corpse, breathing hard but controlled. He turned to Eva, and she saw it in his eyes, not joy at the kill, but grim satisfaction at survival. "Sorry you had to see that," he said. "Come on, more will come." They made it to the escape pods. As the small craft launched, Eva watched through the viewport as the station fell to the swarm. Hundreds dead, maybe thousands, but she was alive. Because a death welder from Earth had split their desk in half and refused to let her freeze as they drifted toward the nearest Commonwealth outpost. Eva finally spoke. "On your world, is it always like this?" Liam was quiet for a moment. Then he smiled, that peculiar human expression that showed teeth, that mimicked a predator's warning and somehow also conveyed warmth. "On Earth," he said, "we have a saying, survive or die trying. That's not a threat. That's just Tuesday." Ava's translator struggled with the idiom, but she understood the meaning. Humans were death welders not because they wanted to be, but because anything less didn't survive on Earth. And now, against the Varaxian swarm, the galaxy was very grateful for that fact.